Every person on the team was scared of AI. The only people that I think are likely going to get replaced by AI are those that ignore it. The biggest delusion that most agency owners have is that they believe that AI is going to essentially be able to run everything for them.
I don't see someone like an agency owner talking to a robot all day.
You don't want to automate a process until you know that process works repeatedly, because when you automate something that doesn't work repeatedly, you just create a train wreck. When we empower our team to leverage AI as well and do so responsibly, now we can actually start doing things that we've known we should be doing, but they're just, we didn't have the time or the capacity to get to. We need to be looking at where is it appropriate and where can we amplify, improve the experience with AI, and where are these things that we shouldn't?
And it's going to be opening new job opportunities. Like, I believe that we're getting into an era that there's going to be AI consultant, right? I mean, people don't know how to use AI. So I think that could be a new role that most agency owners need to think about. Like, hey, I need to hire an AI coach.
A lot of us as agency owners either have or are undiagnosed with ADHD. We're just, that's kind of our personality. I found that AI let me do things faster. It let me take the fast pace of ideas that I was having and actually act on many of those. And they stop being scared and they start going, oh, this AI thing's actually kind of cool because I can be less stressed at the end of the day.
And I think what happens is that we have all these tools, we have AI, and we just don't know where to start sometimes, right?
We shouldn't be worried about, am I using the perfect tool? No, it doesn't matter. I just need to be using a tool. You can't do everything, and that's okay. AI is only as good as we allow it to be and as we train it to be.
Welcome to the Go Accomplish More podcast, where we interview successful individuals doing great things in their business and in their life. Today, we have Jonathan Mass. He is the founder of Whitebeard Strategies. He helps businesses use AI in a practical way that actually improves how they operate. His focus isn't on theory, it's on implementation, taking complex AI ideas and turning them into systems that save time, increase profits, and help teams perform at a higher level. He leads a community of more than 400,000 people learning how to use AI, and he developed a perfect prompt framework to help leaders grow. His belief is simple: AI should strengthen people and their capacity, not replace them. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. So let's start. Are most agency owners using AI to build leverage or to hide broken systems?
Boy, that's a great question. And in my experience, it's probably more on the hiding broken systems than it is building leverage right now. I think, having been in that agency world where you and I met years ago, I think a lot of the agents, that's where they're not necessarily updating their systems to get better because of AI. They're using AI to help just do what they did faster, but not necessarily better, if that makes sense.
So do you think AI is actually helping agencies grow?
I think it can, but I honestly don't think, at least in my experience, and I don't know every agency, I think if we take that average agency out there, I think most of them feel as though AI is an amazing tool and it's allowing us to do things. And it probably is at some level, but I think that we are seeing so many opportunities that agencies are not leaning into yet in order to really leverage AI to deliver more value to their clients while building a better business along the way.
Like, I know in my agency, I personally use a lot of tools, simple tools like Notebook LM, and Notebook LM makes me feel more productive, right? And I think it's actually helping the agency grow, right? Because my time
I'm sure
is valuable.
It is, yeah.
So I think it's kind of both are very important, right? Definitely you want to feel more productive as you're using these tools, right?
And I don't want to take anything away from the agencies that are doing AI. I do think AI is helping the agencies be more productive, and that I think the difference is that I think literally most agencies are just scratching the surface of what AI can do, and they're already really impressed. They're going, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm able to do this faster and better because of AI, and they're right. I think it's like that old iceberg theory, though. They're only seeing the potential of that 10% of the iceberg that's above the water. They're not realizing the massive potential for their agency and for their clients in that 90% that's kind of sitting outside of their view below the water right now. So I don't mean to say by any means that agencies aren't leveraging it. I think they are. I just think that a lot of the agencies that I talk to, when they share, oh, this is what we're doing, I'm like, that's great. but did you know? And they're like, no, I didn't know I could do all that. I think there's just a lot more to that iceberg, so to speak, they're not even aware of yet.
So let's talk a little bit about you, right? I mean, you got into AI, and what made you get into AI? I mean, I know that you were part of our group. You know, we were part of the same
Mm-hmm.
mastermind group, and you kind of pivoted at the time, and you know things were changing at the time. But what made you get into AI?
When OpenAI came out with ChatGPT at the end of 2022 and they gave us an interface to use it, which of course made it much, much easier to use, I jumped in right away. Well, almost right away. The first week, I think I thought it was another chat tool because it was named ChatGPT, and I thought it was something like, Go High Levels chat tool or whatever. So I ignored it. But then I quickly realized I was mistaken. And what I realized, and John, you know this because you work with more agency owners than I do, a lot of us as agency owners either have or are undiagnosed with ADHD. We're just, that's kind of our personality. It doesn't, not all of us by any means,
Tell
but
me
there's a
about it.
lot of us in that group. And I found that AI let me do things faster. It let me take the fast pace of ideas that I was having and actually act on many of those and implement many of those and actually literally get more things done. Going back to, GSD, getting stuff done, I was able to get more stuff done. But I also saw that my team at the time, like you said, I had an agency. I was a member of the mastermind with you, and I had about 12 to 15 people on our team at the time. And every person on the team was scared of AI. They were scared it was going to replace them and scared it was going to take their job. And I fundamentally just, that's not where I come from. That's not what I believe. I believe AI is out there to amplify our skill and experience. And the
Totally.
only people that I think are likely going to get replaced by AI are those that ignore it. In other words, I'm much older than you, but I remember when I got into the workforce, John, personal computers were showing up on desktops. And so there were still people that had typewriters and adding machines. And some of those people were like, I'm not going to that computer thing. Give me my typewriter. I want it. And for a year or two, that worked out. But now, certainly 30 years later, you don't walk into many offices and see typewriters on desks. It just isn't how we do things anymore. And I think AI is going to have that same impact, but even faster to move us into areas that are different than what we've been doing. But I just never saw it as a replacement. But that's what got me into it because I saw this value that I was getting from the tool, and I saw this potential and have this belief that the future is bright because of it. Yet I saw my team was just the opposite. They're like, uh-oh, we've got trepidation about the future. We're scared about the future because we don't know what our future looks like with AI, and that scares us. And so that change to me is really what I wanted to help people affect. Also, I'd been in my agency for about 15 years at that point, and was that entrepreneurial bug was kind of going, Jonathan, you're not too old to do another venture. Let's try something different. And so all that kind of came together in the perfect storm, and decided to launch and do something entirely different.
That's so cool. And I know you've always been like one of these nerds that loves technology and whatnot. So, I mean, ever since I met you, you've loved just more of the ops person, right? You would say, or more operation driven, would you say, or not really?
I'm actually more the sales and marketing guy, but
Okay.
I do love technology. I've always done that. I spent my early career selling IT solutions, and I've always had the ability, and got me in a lot of trouble actually when I was in IT. I always had the ability to see how we could put together systems that I remember one of the most common issues I'd have is I was in sales, so I would sell a solution, and our engineering department would go, Jonathan, that's not how it works. And I'm like, but it will work. And I was young and, of course, very arrogant at the time. And Jonathan pointed out that it would work. And I was fortunate enough that it did work, but it was often outside of the box. In other words, my brain doesn't necessarily think in, well, this is how we've always done it, so we should keep doing it. My brain would see opportunities and go, hang on, we could use this technology to do this and this and this. And I'd connect some dots. And that created some issues for me in my job because I was selling solutions that the engineering department was like, that's not how it works. And it would work, but that's kind of what led me to where I'm at. And that's probably why I embraced AI, because to me, it was one of those light bulb moments of literally, wow, this can really do some amazing things for my business. I actually really struggle on the operational side. It's not my thing. And so AI helps me there because it helps create organization in the chaos that is my mind.
Mm. And I want to turn a little bit on the reality check that I think most agency owners are going to face is that they think that AI is actually going to do every single thing, like inside their agency.
Yeah.
And what do you think is the biggest delusion the agency owners have about AI right now? I mean, because there's always a new thing coming out, right? There's Claude, there's Manus.
I think you nailed it. I think the biggest delusion that most agency owners have is that they believe that AI is going to essentially be able to run everything for them. It reminds me, actually, even before AI, we had automation processes. We could connect Zapier and things like that. And even then, one of the things I remember learning early on is you don't want to automate a process until you know that process works repeatedly. Because when you automate something that doesn't work repeatedly, you just create a train wreck. And I think most agency owners are missing that connection. They're seeing AI as this kind of silver bullet that's going to be able to come into our agencies, read our mind without us really telling them what's going on, and then based upon that, really, like you said, just do everything for us. And that reality is that's not where it's going to work. AI is amazing, and it can absolutely amplify what we're doing. It can save us a tremendous amount of time, but it can't replace us. We still need to be the ones that are implementing, that are instigating, that are having the ideas. And I refer it's a human in the loop. We've got to maintain a human in the loop in order to keep quality there, because AI can run amok and does run amok and just sometimes heads in different directions than what we want. I did a new campaign last night for my company, and I was all excited about it because it was fun and it was new. And this morning I'm going over with my marketing director, and she's like, "This is 85 to 90% amazing, and it's 10% garbage," because 10% of it just didn't fit in with what we were doing. And as a ADHD entrepreneur, part of me wanted to go, "This is great, let's do it." Well, that's why I had my team, because they looked at it and said, yeah, a lot of this is really great, but it's not all really great. Remember, is that when AI gets involved, whether it's helping you create copy, whether it's helping you write ads, whether it's helping you manage things, 80 to 90% of what it's going to do is going to be really great. And you're going to go, wow, that was incredible. But 10% of it's still going to be garbage. And it's up to us to understand, one, where that garbage is coming in. And use the 90% for efficiency, because it's amazing. AI lets us really do two things in my mind as an agency. One, it lets us actually get caught up on the stuff we're behind on because it is faster. The real power, though, that I think comes in, John, when we empower our team to leverage AI as well and do so responsibly, now we can actually start doing things that we've known we should be doing, but they're just, we didn't have the time or the capacity to get to. So it's not just in doing what we're doing faster. It's often, in my mind, in taking those important but not urgent things in our business, the business building aspects that make our agency stronger, that make us better capable of serving our audience. It's taking that and allowing us as an agency owner to actually lean in and get some of that work done, because we were able to save time on some of the maybe more urgent but less important stuff that was there.
Yeah, and they were talking about, like in the last session we were in our mastermind, they were talking about how the AI shift is going to be more geared toward the workforce. Like account managers are now going to be more amplified. Like you're wearing a hat that says amplified, right? Yeah. So they were talking about now the account manager is going to be like a mini CFO, or where that person can just literally tell the AI, whether they're using Claude or whatever tools you're using, they have the capability to have all the answers, but they still need to be directing it, right? And
correct,
the client still wants to speak with a human person. I always think about an executive assistant, right? I don't see, someone like an agency owner talking to a robot all day, right? Or to AI. They need that human touch. They need that AI assist, or that EA that is actually amplified to do more with less time, right? Would you agree that
Absolutely.
This is more of an amplification that's happening with agencies, that agency owners should know that it's more of amplifying their existing team?
I believe that, yeah. And I think that's where it's going to matter. Now, I think we're going to see some areas that are different. A good example is, I was speaking at an event in Washington, D.C. not too long ago, and I needed to make a dinner reservation. When I called to make that dinner reservation, an electronic agent named Amy picked up the phone when I called, and she identified her as an electronic agent. I immediately knew I was talking to AI, but all I was trying to do was to book a reservation. I didn't really need to talk to a human to do that. Amy offered to let me talk to a human at any point in time, but said, would you like me to help you out? And I'm like, yeah. And in about 3 minutes, Amy had confirmed my reservation, had texted me a confirmation about it, and everything was done. From a customer support perspective, that was a great experience. That was something easy. I didn't really need to talk to a human to do that. There wasn't a need. I had to mark a check mark off my task list and have that get done. But that's not every interaction. I did not want an AI agent necessarily coming and telling me what the specials were for the day and understanding what I should do and waiting on me at the restaurant. I wanted a human to do that. I wanted a human to be involved in that. I didn't want to get greeted by a robot and shown to my table. I wanted the smiling face of a human to do that. So while that restaurant did a great job of bringing AI in at a level, I think as agencies, that's the same thing we need to be doing. We need to be looking at where is it appropriate and where can we amplify, improve the experience with AI, and where are these things that we shouldn't? Account management's a great example of that. We all have clients that don't ever show up for account management calls. They don't ever want to talk to anybody. They probably don't even read the reports. Well, there's a great opportunity for AI to get involved at some level, but when there's a question about my account and about my ads report, I don't want to talk to an AI tool at that point. I want to talk to a human being. You mentioned EAs. I've got a tremendous EA. She's fantastic at what she does. I lean into AI heavily, as does she, but I still want to talk to Desh because Desh is taking care of things and she's fixing things for me. And I want to, in this case, like you said, I want to empower my team with AI so that my team can use it, because then if I can save, let's just say, an hour a day using AI, if everybody on my team could save an hour a day using AI, what things would that give them capacity in their lives to do that they're not doing right now? What things are getting overlooked when it comes to customer care and account management and things like that, because we don't have enough time. We're so busy getting the ads placed and so busy getting the social posts out, so busy writing the blog posts, that we're not taking that time to look at the account and then actually build a relationship with that customer. And now that's really where the human side comes in and where I think it's so important.
There's real data that says that 85% of Gen Zs rather have AI or some type of automation within the process, whether you're onboarding them or whether they're applying for a job. They rather the front end be AI because it's easier for them. But then they want that human touch at the end. And I've found that to be like, wow, 85% of Gen Zs rather have it that way, right? So, and I think that's where it's shifting, where we're going to use AI for better customer experience, better onboarding, amplifying our team. And I think if we look at it through that lens, it's going to improve everything, right?
100%. No, I totally agree with you.
Let's talk a little bit about implementation. Like, this podcast is about accomplishing more. And we always like to give little practical takeaways, or where, the agency owner that's listening to this can say, you know what, I can do this in my agency. So if an agency owner wants real results in 30 days with AI, 30 to 60 days, what would you say are the first 3 moves they should make?
That's a great question. First and foremost, I think you need to look at those tasks that are being done on a repetitive basis. Those are the first easy wins that we need to make, because they are easy wins and they're things that AI can do for us. I need to find that low-hanging fruit. And one of the first things I'm going to do is identify what are the repetitive tasks that my team's doing that they don't really love doing. And I'm going to figure out how I can get AI involved. And with the new agents that have just been released from Claude and all the other tools that are out there, and we can talk about OpenClaw, we can talk about Manus, we can talk about Claude Cowork. I mean, there's all kinds of systems that are out there. Perplexity's new computer. All of those give us the ability to offload a lot of those repetitive tasks, even if it means integrating with another application in what we're doing or verifying something. A good example that doesn't fit for everybody, but we just implemented this morning. I mean, something we should have done months ago, but we didn't think about. When I do my trainings and stuff, we have transcripts of all those. And we were always going through and having AI identify the positive comments, the testimonials, the recommendations, but we had never done a sentiment analysis on anybody that had a less than stellar experience. I'm a marketer, so I'm thinking, what are the positive experiences? And literally today, my customer support manager is like, hey, we've been we notice certain trends, but it's kind of hard to find out because when I do trainings, they're often 2 to 6 hours long, and that's a lot of content to go through. And literally, while we were on the call this morning, I'm like, well, let's actually just have AI use that same data that we already have, but now run a sentiment analysis on it and identify things. And then we as humans can read that sentiment analysis to understand, is this something we need to worry about or not worry about? Is this a trend we should be paying attention to or not? And I think that's another area that that agencies can lean into really quickly. Your account management calls, we're doing them via Zoom for the most part. So you've got recordings of them. Are we running a sentiment analysis on that? Are we doing the same thing on our onboarding processes and that?
That's so good.
Are we taking the time to understand not only the things that went well, because we love to hear what goes well, but are we trying to identify the areas where maybe there's a friction point that we're kind of overlooking because it's not a friction point to us, but we're hearing from all our clients, this is a friction point. And if so, then how can we identify that so we can fix it? So one, repetitive tasks. Two, identifying friction, mainly friction for your customers. But then the third part is friction for your team. How can you look at things that your team is doing and identify for them things that are just, they seem inefficient? I found when we go talk to teams and we say, you do a lot of stuff throughout the week. What are 3 things you do every week that just seem like they could be done better? They seem inefficient. Almost every team member can give you that list in 30 seconds. Oh yeah, this, and this. Well, now let's look at those areas as low-hanging fruit opportunities. AI is it's not our savior. It's not going to come in and fix everything for us, but it absolutely can help us out in a lot of those areas. And the key to me, if an agency can get some of those quick wins, John, in the first 30 days, solve some of that low-hanging fruit problem, so to speak, now the rest of the organization start seeing real tangible wins, and they stop being scared and they start going, oh, this AI thing's actually kind of cool because I can be less stressed at the end of the day.
That's so good. And you said something that resonates with me, that we do something similar where you're saying you tell your team to look for those friction points or those areas that need improvement. What I've done lately is tell my team they need to create a brain dump, like do a brain dump every 2 weeks. What are the things you want to improve? Where do you want this department to go? This is great for the agency owner too, because our head is full of so many ideas, right? Well, do a brain dump. Do a brain dump on all the ideas you have, where you want to take the company, where there's a need for improvement. And once you have that brain dump, give it to your EA or give it to AI and figure out what are the areas that definitely we can offload this to an AI agent, or where can we automate this, and where can we give this to a team member where they can grab it and say, okay, I'm going to grab this and really use the tools that I have to make it work, right? And I think what happens is that we have all these tools, we have AI, and we just don't know where to start sometimes, right? And it could be a shiny object. It can be a shiny object syndrome, right?
No, I think one of the most common things I hear from anybody is this AI is all exciting, but I don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed because there's so many options. Correct. And I think that's a commonplace for both ourselves as business owners and agency owners, but also for our team. And we need to understand that our team is having that same level of overwhelm, combined in their case, probably with a certain level of fear about, hang on, if these rumors are true about the upcoming job apocalypse, which I don't think they are, but if those rumors are true, do I need to be scared? Am I going to lose my job? And so as leaders, we need to not only empower, but we need to demonstrate and help reassure our teams why this isn't the tool that's going to allow me to run a 9-figure agency out of my basement with me and 10 AI agents. I just don't see that as being a reality anytime in the near future.
So good. Jonathan, so you talk about building systems with AI, and I agree with you. We should use AI not only to amplify our team, but to build systems. But how do you work around the agency owner that's super busy, right? We're all busy.
We are.
How do you find time to really implement these things? Do you recommend outsourcing it? What would be a smart strategy to attack it, right? In regards to, okay, we need to build a better onboarding system using AI. But the thing is, we're all busy. right? And then AI is changing every quarter. You know what I'm saying? You start
Oh
something,
yeah,
and you're like,
absolutely.
oh, Manus just came out where you can download Manus on your computer, right? And we're like, what? This is amazing. What would be a next step for that agency owner to? I mean, do they just have to block time? Should they outsource it to someone that knows? I mean, what would be the smartest move in your eyes?
I think the smartest move in my eyes, John, is really to make sure that that agency owner understands that they don't have to do everything today. In other words, this is kind of it's kind of like
That's
eating
good.
an elephant. They say, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time.
Love that.
And I think that's how we as agency owners need to be looking at what we're doing here. We need to make sure that we're looking at it as, what do I need to do today? What's one thing I can do today that I can use AI to do that will save me time and energy? Not how do I optimize everything and how do I have an AI-based marketing agency? No, that's a massive lift. And candidly, things are changing so rapidly that I'm not sure that we can tell you with any certainty that this is going to make sense. And things are going to continue changing, but there's a lot of fundamentals that we can do. And we don't need to worry right now about what tool we're using. If you're using ChatGPT or you're using Gemini or you're using Claude or you're using Manus, any of those tools will give you the capabilities to do so much more than you could do without that tool. We shouldn't be worrying today in 2026 as we're recording this. We shouldn't be worried about, am I using the perfect tool? No, it doesn't matter. I just need to be using a tool. Imagine for a moment, we're not in the agency business, but that we're in the delivery business and we have a local delivery company. And in a perfect world, I'd have a brand new Mercedes Sprinter van or something like that I was using. And if you like another brand, that's fine. But I'd have one of the best possible vans. Everything would be set up. But the reality is, I don't really need that van in order to run a successful delivery service, especially if let's say I'm delivering documents. Well, maybe the better plan is to have a used Toyota Corolla that my team's driving around to deliver those documents. And I think we get confused as agency owners so often as business people because we look at AI and we go, oh, I want the Mercedes Sprinter van. It's so cool. And man, that marketing, and it's going to save me so much time. When in reality, if we just had a good, reliable 10-year-old Toyota Corolla, we could get 90% as much work done as that Sprinter van could at 1/10 the cost and 1/10 the effort. And so I want to encourage agency owners to do the same thing. Don't worry if you don't know everything. I mean, this is my business. I coach people on how to do it. And yet, if you ask me about doing AI video, I'm going to refer you to somebody else. Why? Because I don't have time to learn everything about AI video. So I'm going to refer you to somebody else that I know that I trust in that area who doesn't have time to focus on what I'm focusing on. You can't do everything, and that's okay. It's kind of like the agency world. You know, how many agencies do we know that started off by, if you can fog a mirror, I'll do work for you. And those agencies struggled and were never able to scale because they were trying to be everything to everybody. AI is the same thing. You need to essentially niche down and say, all right, I'm going to pick these tools. These are the tools I'm going to use. And I'm not going to willy-nilly bring in the new version. So you mentioned Manus. Yeah, they just released a desktop app yesterday with local agentic capabilities. Oh, I'm having fun with it. But if you're an agency owner, you don't need that today.
Exactly.
You simply do not need that to make money. Come and see what I'm saying about it in a month or in 2 months, and then maybe you can decide to implement it if it makes sense. But again, if you have ChatGPT today, or you have Google Gemini today, or you have Claude, you don't really need any more. You can even have Microsoft Copilot. You don't really need any more than that for most of us to have these massive gains in productivity and efficiency. And let's go there first before we try to figure out all the bright, shiny new stuff. It's exciting, but it's going to take away the time that we already don't have.
Absolutely. That's so good. That's so good. You're big on personal branding. How can agencies train AI to match their voice or their client brand, right? Instead of producing generic content?
Such an important thing to be wondering and to be asking, because AI is only as good as we allow it to be and as we train it to be. So one of the things I think that most agency owners fail is that, I can go to ChatGPT as it sits and ask it to create a Facebook marketing campaign, and it will do so for any business that I give it. But that Facebook marketing campaign, in order to be good, it needs to understand, one, the client but it also needs to understand who their audience is and what it is that they're doing. And I think as agency owners, it's so important that we do that. My recommendation, and it's everybody can do what they want, but my recommendation is that as an agency, when you bring on that new client, that you need to essentially do an interview, an onboarding interview with that client, where you allow your AI tools to scrape their website and figure out what's going on and gather publicly available information. But then you need a human to human to sit down with them and say, all right, let me understand your backstory. Let me understand your vision. Let me understand who you're serving and what you're doing. Because it's those details that then when we create that, and I call it a dossier when we're done, think of it as a PDF. It's basically a client PDF. It's everything I need to know about this client. Now that document I can utilize in any of the tools that I have. I can utilize that with ChatGPT. I can utilize it with Claude. I can use it with Gemini. I can use it with the brand new version of Manus I just downloaded that I'm excited to use. Somebody introduces something brand new. The other day, people were talking all about Kimi, Kimi. It's one of the Chinese tools that's out there and how great it is. And it is good. I've tested it. It's good. But I don't need to retrain Kimi, because if I take that client information over, now it already has what I need in order to do that. And that's going to make everything resonate better. It's going to make it more on brand and on target, because people are worried, and especially as agency owners, I hear this. But Jonathan, don't they hate AI content? No, they hate garbage content. And AI content that's not trained often is garbage content. So we as agency owners, if we're going to leverage AI, we need to train it not only on our processes, but as you said, on our clients and on their audience, so that it understands how to put it all together. And I think the best way to do that is an interview. I really do.
That's so good, Jonathan. Are agency owners using AI as an excuse to avoid building real teams? Do you think that the future agency is going to be a smaller team, or like where do you see this going in regards to agencies building the right infrastructure with teams?
I think a lot of it depends on the goals and objectives. So I absolutely do believe if you are a very technical founder with deep marketing knowledge and deep understanding of AI tools, that I could run a one-person agency with AI and scale it a lot further than I could 3 years ago without adding a single employee. But I'm still going to run into the same problem, and trust me, because I'm doing it, you're going to run out of time. There's only so much time you have, no matter what you do. And so I believe that AI is actually going to create more opportunities than it's going to replace, and that the agencies that are out there that are going to succeed are going to, again, they may have a lower overall headcount at 7 figures and at 8 figures than what they had 5 years ago. But I don't see it as replacing the existing team that we have today. And I don't see it as removing the need to hire more people, because we're going to be able to, you and I were both I see the plaque in the back of 7-figure agency. And one of the big moves there was get your agency to 7 figures at $83,333 per month and do that. We could look, and I'm sure if we talk to the coaches there, and I think you actually have been, there's probably a pretty predictable staffing level that most agencies have when they hit that. And there's probably a pretty predictable level where their staff is at when they hit 8 figures down the road. That's all great. Those numbers may decrease slightly, but they're not going to go to zero. We're not. The ability to run an agency effectively and serve your clients and do 7 figures as a one-person shop, while I don't want to say it's impossible, is not going to be what we as agency owners have heard. It's not going to be me sitting on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean using Starlink, sipping a martini or some foo-foo drink while I just keep tabs on the dashboard and my AI agents go do everything. That's not we're just not going to be there anytime soon. I don't think probably ever. Now, may we get there that at 7 figures, I have 6 employees on average instead of 8 employees? Absolutely. Sure. But what we're noticing the difference is, and just internally, John, we're actually hiring more people, but the people we're hiring are actually higher level with more experience. And the reason we're doing that is that AI is able to amplify that. So now, instead of me hiring, 3 people to fill in a job because I just don't have the budget to hire that A player, I can go hire the A player and teach them how to use AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding out they can literally, instead of getting the work of 3 B players, which has always been the thing, 1 A player is going to do work of 3 B players. Now I can hire an A player and they can probably do the work of 6 to 9 B players because of the fact that they know how to leverage AI. So I think, it's creating more opportunities there for us to bring in even higher caliber team members. And if we can't, then it's going to allow that B team member to be able to do more work better, more consistently, and learn and grow to become that A player as a result of that.
Yeah, you said it. I think that it's going to amplify a lot of the existing workforce, and it's going to be opening new job opportunities. Like, I believe that we're getting into an era that there's going to be AI consultants, right? I mean, people don't know how to use AI. I mean, the AI can be the consultant itself, right? You need a human consulting and teaching AI. So I think that could be a new role that most agency owners need to think about. Like, hey, I need to hire an AI coach, or I need this account manager to have a little bit more on the techie side, to be more techie. And so I think the human touch is going to be more needed. I think the humans are going to get fed up a bit, I think, in 2 or 3 years, and they're going to even want more community. They're going to be like, hey, I'm already fed up with AI. I mean, we need it. We're still going to use it, but we want more community.
That's where I see the opportunity for agency owners, though, because we can stick our head in the sand and say our clients aren't asking, can I use AI to do this marketing for me? They're asking. To be successful, I believe the agency owner needs to embrace AI, and we need to say, okay, here's the areas that you can use AI that you don't need to use us as an agency for. And here's why we're going to use AI as an agency to amplify our skill and experience to bring you more value. It's not removing the agency from the process, but it is changing the responsibilities that the agency has to the client and changing what that discussion is. If I had an agency today doing marketing, I would absolutely have an AI specialist that was there to train the clients how to do basic things, how to handle things, to make things work better for us, so that we were empowering them as our clients. But then when it came to the heavy lifting, the important stuff, that we were still there and leveraging that, because we're adding more value in that process. We're creating more return on their investment.
That's so good. Now let's go to the extremes, right? I always like to compare the extremes.
Sure.
What would you say to the agency that is not building in the next 12 to 24 months and is actually ignoring AI and say, you know what, I'm just going to, put my nose into the ground and just use ChatGPT forever. I'm not going to look at what's coming ahead. What would you say to that agency? Like, what could happen to that agency in the next 12 to 24 months?
I think that in the next 12 to 24 months, they're probably still going to have a decent business. They're likely going to find clients that have decided they don't want to use AI. And then they're gonna all of a sudden realize that their runway, so to speak, has ended, and they're gonna find themselves crashing, because everybody within the next 2 years essentially is going to be moving to an AI inclusive system where AI is part of it. And if they're not, they're not going to be able to land deals, because, I mean, we're already seeing it with some of the agencies I work with. I'm sure you see it with the agencies you work with, John. Clients are now beginning to ask, how are you going to use AI to help do my marketing for me? They're expecting that you're going to be using these tools. And that's even going to get more and more as time goes on. And as these other businesses that we're serving get more familiar with AI, they're going to have expectations that we're using it in ways that are going to serve them better and more efficiently. And the reality is AI does and can allow you to do that. And if you choose to stick your head in the sand, we don't see many people using typewriters to write things out anymore. Not the rule. And I think if you as an agency are on the bandwagon that we're going to be different because we're just going to be human and we're not going to use AI, I think you're going to find out that you forgot the value that AI can bring. You can still be primarily human. In fact, you should. We want to keep human in the loop. But I think to assume that AI is something we can get by without is going to lead to the Blockbuster. I mean, remember when Netflix came out, Blockbuster laughed and said, we don't need to worry about DVDs by mail. What are you talking about? And then when Netflix started streaming, they said, we don't need to worry about streaming. People love coming to our stores. Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore. In fact, there's probably people on this call going, "Who is that?" But they used to be the largest nationwide video store in the United States and probably worldwide, and they no longer exist today because they ignored something as simple as video streaming.
Totally.
And
Totally.
AI is so much more than just that.
And I think like what agency owners can do, like if they're still not 100%, I mean, they can start with those baby steps, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
Start putting something on your website that you're AI compliant. You can even offer some tools like to your clients, like to your niche, and say, you know what, I'm going to create this tool, and that's going to help with retention. It's going to help maybe with an upsell. And it's so easy nowadays to build a tool. You can go to Lovable and these apps, or get someone to do it in your team, right? To do the research, right? I mean, would you agree that like building tools for your clients is only going to amplify retention and just better engagement?
Yeah, I imagine just only back to when I had my agency. The one thing we didn't like doing, and I know this doesn't apply for everybody, we didn't like doing social media. And the reason we didn't like doing social media is it had a relatively low perceived value to the client. The client wasn't going to pay thousands of dollars a month as a general rule, but the client was reading it, and if they didn't like it, it caused a lot of back and forth and a lot of hassle. So social media was kind of a pain. Well, if I had my agency today, I would have a tool that when you came on board with us, part of what you got as a deliverable would be a suite of social media tools that you could then use to create social media in minutes instead of me having to do it for you and you being frustrated. But I'm creating stickiness because once you start using my tool and you start seeing how great it works for you, and the fact that you can put out 2 or 3 posts a day now in literally a few minutes because it's so easy. Now, all of a sudden, when your brother-in-law decides he's going to get into the marketing business and your wife says it's time we go work with him, you go, no, I can't because I'm going to lose these tools. There's no way I'm leaving because they're not going to have those same tools. So you're creating tremendous stickiness with your client. Find those things like that. Maybe it's just as simple as creating a tool that really understands how to write email for that CEO or that customer service team or whoever you're dealing with, and helps make their life easier. And again, like you said, it could be a custom GPT you share. It could be a micro app. It could be all kinds of different things. But by making that available through you for your clients, now you're creating much more value that they're not even going to think about leaving down the road, or certainly your churn is going to be decreased because they're going to go, wow, I lose all this infrastructure that I was given when I became your client. I'm going to lose all that if I leave. I can't leave.
Yeah, and just be that consultant. I think that if you're a growth partner, that's going to create stickiness. And
absolutely,
what does a growth partner do? Well, they bring the tools you need. They give you suggestions. They educate you on AI, and they're just foreseeing where you should be. Right? I mean, they're there for you. And I think if you do that, 100%. You're going to have more business. I mean, there's no way around it. Right? Jonathan,
absolutely.
It's been great. Let's do a lightning round. Some questions.
Let's go.
That's okay with you? Is that fine?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Favorite book?
Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell.
Ooh, that's a great one. Favorite AI tool right now?
Right now, Claude Cowork.
Amazing. I love that tool. One daily habit that keeps you sharp?
Taking time every morning before I kick my day off to just reset. I'm a man of faith, so I do that by spending some time in devotions. Is probably one of the key things that keeps me sane.
Amazing. One thing AI will never replace.
You, me, us.
Love it. Love it. Jonathan, I never talked about in the beginning, but how does your faith keep you grounded?
My goal in life is very simple. Again, I'm a man of faith. I want to stand in front of Christ, my Lord and Savior, and have him say, well done, good and faithful servant. So everything else works back from that. What does that mean I need to do in order to achieve that goal? And I believe there's a couple things that need to happen. First, I absolutely believe I need to serve my audience. Not sell my audience, but serve my audience. Now, I do sell things, absolutely. I have bills to pay and all that, but I focus on service, and it has made a tremendous difference in our growth and our retention and everything that we do. And the other part when it comes to AI is I have a lot of people of faith that come to me and go, Jonathan, I don't know how you can use that. I just think it's evil. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I remind them of the parable of the talents. And while that was talking about different things, the last thing, again, I want to do is I don't want to find out someday that I sit there and God says, hey, I gave you this amazing tool. It was called artificial intelligence, and you chose to bury it because you were scared of it. I don't want to be that guy, plain and simple. And I know some people think I'm being heretical when I say that, and I'm not meaning to in any way, shape, or form. But that's, given my goal in what I do, that's really how my faith keeps me grounded. And one of the reasons I'm so interested in AI is because I do believe, as a man of faith and people of faith, that we can embrace it. AI is like a computer. It's not good or bad inherently. It's what we do with it. And, I'm an avid amateur photographer. There are people that take pictures of things with cameras that we shouldn't see. And that doesn't mean the camera is bad. I take pictures of things that bring joy to me. I moved down to Alabama, so it's a lot of waterfowl and animals and stuff that I love. But the camera, the lens isn't good or evil. AI is that same way. It's not good or evil. It's how we use it. And I believe I have an obligation as a Christian to use it in a way that glorifies my Lord and Savior.
The other day I was at church and there's an app called granola.ai, which take notes.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, literally it'll grab whatever you're talking, like, on the mic or even, so I had my granola on my phone while the sermon was on, like, and I was able to take, amazing notes. So after the sermon finished, I was able to review it, and it was amazing. Like, literally, I had my Bible next to me, and I had this app just running and recording the whole sermon and giving me a summary at the end. So good, right? So good. I mean, I love taking notes as well, but this is just an additional tool that you can use even for just note taking, which is amazing. So
I use it all the time just for additional context. Something comes up and I'm like, I wonder what was really happening back then. It's not even really a biblical introspection. It's just my desire to understand the culture at that point and to be able to do that in the moment, as opposed to, well, I'll make a note and I'll try to get to that later and never get to it. Now I can literally in the moment do it, and it helps deepen the way I can perceive some of that and the way I can relate.
So good, Jonathan. Jonathan, where can people connect with you and learn more about what you're building?
Simple is just remember my name, Jonathan Mast, M-A-S-T, and go to jonathanmast.com/linktree. I've got ways to connect with me and resources, tons of free stuff. Or if you just remember, I'm the guy with the white beard in AI. If you search for white beard in AI, last time I checked, I'm in the top 5 or 6 spots, and you'll go through to my company, Whitebeard Strategies.
Jonathan, you have a great community. We follow you. And if you're listening to this show, make sure you follow Jonathan. I mean, he has great content. So great to have you on the show again.
Thank you, John. Pleasure to chat again.